Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. Glad you are with us today as I take care of some administrative work that I could have done prior to us getting started. But here we go. Glad you are with us here on August the 20th. We are now, it's a nice round number of sorts, 75 days away till the start of the 2025-26 season. November the 3rd, steamrolling toward it. Just yesterday was a just a palate cleanser for the soul. Walking through, I was down at Murray State and just kind of walking through had to talk to some folks and you walk through the arena and you've got the women's team out there doing individual workouts and walk back through the practice gym and the men's team's over there. They're doing one of their workouts. And it was just like, we're getting there. We're getting there. The balls are bouncing and it's just all the sights and sounds that love so much. It was just really, it was nice to see, and knowing we're now just 2.5 months away from getting to go for real. Michael Admire, he is the men's basketball radio voice for the Drake Bulldogs, will join us here in just a couple of minutes. Get a late summer, I guess we can call it, fall practices have begun now for everybody. And we'll get an update from Michael. I haven't talked to him in a couple of months, see what's going on in Bulldog land as we get ready for year number 1 of the Eric Henderson era there in Des Moines. Haven't done so already, please do us a favor. Head over to YouTube, subscribe to the program for free. Like, share, comment, all of that. Subscriber count continuing to climb a little bit more every day. Love to see that number get bigger. Help us get in front of some more eyeballs as we steamroll towards the start of the season. Okay. News headlines this morning, and we got an opportunity yesterday in Coralville, Iowa. Missouri Valley Conference had a little "Hey, how are you?" press conference as we look ahead to March already. Missouri Valley Conference women's basketball tournament, the Credit Union 1 women's basketball tournament, the 3-year rotational process there with the women's tournament that they are going through. Last year, of course, in Evansville. This year, it will be in Coralville, Iowa, just down the road from Iowa City. And then next year goes back to Moline. And so, geographically, you look at the footprint, and this is, last year with it being in Evansville, and it was just kind of the happy accident, I think, in the end, when you had Murray State and Belmont playing for the championship game there at the Ford Center. It was like, geographically, for the most part, outside of literally, obviously, Evansville, and maybe make an argument about Indiana State, but it's like Murray State and Belmont, that was kind of the perfect game to play there for fan bases to be able to get there. But you look, and now it's, all right, we're going to Coralville, which is 7 hours to the northwest. Certainly settles in. You're in Iowa, certainly settles in with UNI and Drake, and you're within shouting distance of UIC and Valpo and Illinois State, all those folks. So maybe a little more geographically friendly for the entire league. And the next year you go to Moline, which is only about an hour away from Coralville, back into Illinois. But it'll just going to be, I'm interested to see what the Valley wants to do, in the end. They'll be playing at the Extreme Arena this year. Yesterday, there were 5 coaches that were there. You had Allison Pullman and Tanya Warren, Ashley and Bracey, Kristen Gillespie, and Courtney Boyd up there. And it was just looking even at the pictures. You're just like, all 5 of these head coaches just sitting there and trying to get through this news conference. It's part of the duties, and you've got to go, and you're trying to support the game and support the conference and support the tournament and all that stuff. But somewhere in their head they're like, I would rather be anywhere else in America than sitting on this podium, on this dais right now, going through this press conference, because we got to go. We got to go. Summer's over. Kids are back. It's time to get going. And so the general look of, like, it's a snapshot. Probably half a second later, they're all smiling. It's just in that moment of you can almost just feel the disdain just rolling off of them of having to be there to help support the tournament. But obviously a necessary reason to be there to promote it. But I'm just curious to see how it works. And we talked with Jeff Jackson a couple of months ago, the Missouri Valley commissioner. He's like, look, Evansville was a huge hit. And obviously it was. And it felt like a bigger hit, maybe, as much as anything, when the team that wins the championship is essentially, they're within arm's reach of their home campus. And Murray State had all those fans there. And it just felt like a bigger deal. This year you go to Coralville, Iowa. If at the end of the day you get Drake or Northern Iowa cutting down the nets or right down the road, it's going to feel like a bigger deal. And so, but each venue in its own way is awesome, and there's just outside of maybe in the end just going back to St. Louis and finding a way to do it in St. Louis like you do the men's tournament, which probably from a conference standpoint would be for the best. You've got all your staff and everybody there handling Arch Madness. Then the next week, let's take care of the women's tournament. Trying to find a venue that's its own complication and so on. But I'm just curious to see what they do, because you've got a lot of good options, but somebody's always going to gripe. I mean, look, you can play it on a home campus. Somebody's going to gripe. That's just the way things tend to work in this world. I said, we live in a society now where you can hand people a $20 bill and they'll be mad you didn't give them 2 10s. So that's the way of the world now. But it's year 2. Next year they'll go to Moline, and we'll see how things progress when they get to the end of the 2027 season. Obviously, they'll have to make a decision prior to then about what the future is for 2028 and beyond. But next year they go to Coralville. So they a nice arena up there, and they are ready to roll, and coaches ready to get back to campus and get ready for their season. All right. Time to welcome in our guest. He is punctual, and we always appreciate that. Time is of the essence. This is a guy that has spent some time in the television world, and time is money. You got to be places at 6:22, no questions asked. And I told him 9:10, and he's here at 9:06 because he's a professional. He's Michael Admire. How are you, sir?
Hey, Jeff, I'm great. I am typically not like the best at being punctual. I try my best, though. You know what? By golly, I try my best.
I am 50 years old. It has been more than 30 years since I was in high school, and my high school coach, it was, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late, and that has been just ingrained into my DNA. So, listen, you're not 10 minutes early, but you're 4 minutes early, and that around here, that's you get the gold star for the day. So, congratulations.
We had a coach in high school who would put everything at, like, if the practice, 7 o'clock, it'd be 6:58. So it would be, he would put it on the schedule, like we start at 6:58, and he would start the clock at 6:50. It was weird. He was not a super successful coach.
I can understand that. I can understand that. All right. How's summer going? Has the Eric Henderson, I'm just the happy puppy dog running through the field, has any of that worn off with him, or is he still just hugging every person he comes into contact with?
He's still hugging everybody he comes in contact with. Yeah, no, he's I kind of told you this last time. Some of the first messages I got from people were, this guy's legit. Like, this is just who he is. And I've known him for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And yeah, so that's cool. That stuff hasn't worn off, but it has been cool, getting into the practices and watching him, work with the guys. I mean, he is, I don't want to say, like, I don't know if tough is the right word. He's fair. They've set some standards on how practices should go. And if people aren't living up to those standards, he holds them accountable. And so, yeah, that's been cool to see, going in there to practices. But yeah, no, he's still hugging everybody. It's been neat going to some of the soccer games have started this fall. We had a all-staff meeting, or not all-staff meeting, but we had a all-staff get-together at Brian Harden's house last night, and it was cool having him there and all the coaches, and starting to ramp up fall sports season here.
Just from this being the third head coach in as many years, and everybody's got their own different personality as much as anything, but how has he been from Ben last year? Just it feels like, and I didn't know Ben at all, but it just got the sense that this is kind of a night and day in a lot of ways, with at least the outward enthusiasm for it, the Jim Harbaugh of I'm going to attack this day with enthusiasm unknown to mankind type of thing. But how has the community as a whole seemed to embrace him so far, as he's still 0-0 as the head coach at Drake?
Yeah, no, it's again, I've kind of said this phrase a couple times this morning, but it has been fun in my job to watch how leaders lead their teams in different ways, from Darren to Ben, and now, having Hendo in here. All three have really done it in different ways. And Hendo has an energy that's like, it's really hard to match. So it's hard to, compare him to anybody else. But yeah, I mean, Ben, in a sense, was so dialed in
Right.
to the job and to winning basketball games and to his group. He kept a tight knit group around him. I mean, you see that he takes everybody to Iowa. Every single player that wanted to go over there went with him. Every single staff member went with him. So yeah, he keeps it really tight, and it's very methodical. Where Henderson, has a real good game plan and is detailed and organized. But yeah, it's pretty free flowing, and he opens his arms up wide and brings everybody into the fold. And I think fans are really enjoying that. I mean, we just got a season ticket report early last week, so we haven't gone on sale for season tickets quite yet, but our season ticket renewals are nearing 90%. And for a turnover that we had, I mean, think it's a 6,000 seat arena about. There's a decent amount of like family and friends of the players and coaches that aren't going to be back. So, that's a couple percentage points right there. So to be in that nearing 90%, I think that shows that fans are bought into what Drake is doing, not necessarily what the staff or the players are doing. Now, it's a little bit of my job to introduce the players and the staff to our fan base and make sure there is that connection. So, throughout the season, there's that cohesiveness and that bond between fan base and the players and coaches.
You've been very busy on the Hometown Hoops podcast and introducing a bunch of the guys, and I've enjoyed the different personalities. It's always just, of course, they're different personalities, but they're different in such wildly unique lanes, sort of wrap your arms around them. And the one young man who came with Coach Henderson from South Dakota State, Owen Larson, and played a lot for him last year, got hurt at the end of the year. This one is going to be, I mean, for me, of everything I've watched that you've done, if there's one sentence that has stuck out above everything, it was, "I'm not here to make friends," from Owen Larson. And you're just like, every team needs its villain, and that's okay. Like I am such a fan of sports villainry in a lot of ways, and I was like, okay, he's going to be the thorn in everyone's size because the dude can play, and he's going to let you know about it.
Yeah. So a couple things on that. One, I debated about posting that onto social media. Obviously, he says it on the podcast.
Sure.
That's kind of fed directly to Drake fans. I mean, there may be some other folks popping in and listening to that.
You broke it out and made it a separate thing.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. It's August, so maybe we can kind of get away with it right now, because that's maybe a little bit of bulletin board material. But at the same time, like, it does just show the personality of Owen Larson. And so I didn't want to take that away from him, so there's like a little bit of responsibility to let our fan base know, like, this is the guy that you have. He said a lot of other great things in there as well, but that was one that was fun and kind of popped out, and it has sparked within our fan base, and even, with me, like, he looks just like Connor Enright. And so he has like that same mentality of, being a little chippy. He's going to get the 50-50 balls. He's going to lay on the floor, and then, he's going to, pop up and make some hand gesture or flex on you or something like that. He'll let you hear about it. And yeah, he's one of those guys that you love to have on your team, and you hate to, play against him. I remember like Braden Norris from Loyola. He was somebody that just got under my skin so much, but I freaking loved watching him play. Connor Hickman at Bradley, that same type of guy, those kind of tough guards in the Missouri Valley Conference that let you hear about it. And yeah, we've had a couple guys over the years that have been like that, but deep down, I feel like they're all good dudes too. So
and that's
they can get away with it.
we went through this, and I had Drew Steffi from Southern Illinois on a couple last month or so, and there was a game last year in Carbondale, and somebody else, he didn't even do anything. Somebody else scored, and he came in front of us, and he was woofing, and I was just like, this guy, and then I get him on the show, and I was like, oh, I love this kid. He's awesome.
And that's so good of what you're doing, because there's like, I'm a competitor. Like I played sports growing up, so I still have that like athletic fire, that competitive fire within me. And sometimes within, I'm like, I got to hold myself back from also chirping back as these players are running up and down the floor talking smack. But I mean, they don't know who I am. And I've got to be the mature one in the room. But
there you
go. I deal with that sometimes.
That's okay. That's all right. We're all still 20 somewhere in our souls. So
exactly.
Look, Owen's an Iowa kid, played football, and he's got, I think the part about I'm not here to make friends that I loved the most was, I don't even think he cracked a smile. Like, he was just like serial cold killer. Like, I'm not joking about this, that I'm here to win and we're going to do it, and everything else kind of be damned. But when are we going to get to see him? He's coming back from that ACL. What's sort of his plan? Is we going to get to see him this year? Or are they just going to kind of keep him under bubble wrap and we'll see him in 26, 27?
Oh, no. Yeah, he'll be here this year. I don't fully know the timeline. He's back to running. He mentioned that on the podcast, like late July. He was back to running a little bit, and so I mean that's pretty good progress. His goal is to be ready for when the season starts. Like, that's where his mindset is. The training staff and coaches may have a different plan for him. One thing that I really like is, there are 3-4 veteran guards on this team that are ready to go right now and could be a starter at a high level in this league. So I think that sets it up to where he doesn't have to rush back.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to see him in by the, maybe a game before the MTE, get him going, and then get him ready for the MTE. But I mean, that I think would be kind of wishful thinking at this point. I don't know for sure if there's a timeline, but from what I understand, his goal is to be ready for week 1. But how I see it is no need to rush him back, because there are some guys that, can carry the water here for a little bit.
It's one of those things. It's like, he tears it so late in the year, you're worried that maybe it's going to sacrifice the next year, but look, they don't do ACL surgeries with chainsaws anymore. So guys have a chance to come back. Jalen Quinn, one of the 3 seniors transfer in from Loyola. I think the thing that stood out to me with him was just kind of, he understands the urgency of the moment now. Mm-hmm. And like, this is it for me. And you get Jay Sean Thomas coming in from Charlotte. You get Isaiah Carr coming in from Denver, these transfers that it's kind of like, okay, this is it now. Have you gotten that? Am I reading the room right? That the old guys in the room now are like, this is it. And, this is my last shot. We got to make the most of it. Yeah.
The coaching staff really targeted older guards and some older players to get that leadership in here right away. And man, they picked a couple really good guys. And, it's with the transfer portal, it does give these players an opportunity to, really find the right spot and kind of reset a little bit. And Jalen Quinn's one of those players that was recruited. He's from Illinois, so he's recruited to Loyola out of high school, has a really good relationship with that coaching staff, was there for 3 seasons, had success, played well, and it was really hard for him to leave. So when he goes into the transfer portal, here's immediately from the Drake coaching staff. He had been recruited by Darren DeVries to Drake in the first wave coming out of high school. And so he had kind of already had that connection, and it lined up. Him and Jay Sean Thomas played with each other in the Illinois Wolves system. It's a AAU system that the aforementioned Connor Enright played in. So, a lot of guys in that system that are familiar with Drake. And so, you can feel the urgency. And these guys, you mentioned Jay Sean, like he says, like this summer has been one of those, just lock in, complete focus on basketball, this is it here, and wants to make a lasting legacy, put an imprint on this program. And I mean, the X's and O's wise, we'll see how it all plays out in November. But like all those things that we've talked about, how connected this group is, how focused they are, some of the veteran leadership, like you can work with that stuff.
Jay Sean Thomas, again, I think Chicago kid, played at Charlotte, comes in, like going to Iowa, doesn't know anything about Iowa. He just jumped off the screen. I'm like, this is a kid you'd love to have in your locker room, in your program. That's just going to be, even though you're only going to get him for maybe 10 months, what an ambassador for Drake University.
No, he's great. He's great. It was, he went to FSW, Florida Southwestern Junior College for a couple of years, which is the program that former Drake assistant Marty Richter started. He started that JUCO program. And so we've had several guys from FSW over the years, and DJ Wilkins, Roman Penn, the Murphy twins, Tank Hempel. So like a lot of guys have come from that program, which is really neat to kind of re-spark that. But kind of with that JUCO talk, we'll see what the NCAA rules in the future. He might end up getting one of those, it's one of those things that, but he's playing it as this is it. And yeah, he's a locker room guy, a leader. And one thing that was really neat, and not to like dive into like faith too much, but he is so grounded in his faith and talks so poignantly about that, and how his relationship with his faith has really, I don't know, just put him on a path of steadiness. And he has like a faith-based podcast, which is really neat. And I mean, regardless of where your faith lies, I mean, you can really respect a young man that goes out and speaks so powerfully and is willing to put himself out there like that, also while, playing the game and being focused on that stuff too. So yeah, that was fun. And each one of these conversations, like, man, I hope our fans are listening to it, just because it does give you like such a deep connection with them. And that's why I love like this podcasting platform, is you can talk for, more than just in 2-minute sound bites or 30-second sound bites.
Yep. Schedule wise, we're going to get to see each other November the 3rd in Sioux Falls. We get a whole lot of Valley in the Field of 68 opening day marathon, and the Racers will be taking on Omaha to open things up there. And then right behind us, it'll be Drake and Northern Arizona. What's the general vibe of excitement around the Drake program to be a part of this event, which is, getting a little more steam every year that goes by?
Oh yeah, for sure. And South Dakota State played in this event last year, and so they're familiar with the guys from Field of 68. Thought that it was a really well run event, and they want to be a part of it again, bringing Drake up there. Obviously the South Dakota ties, so that's a fun way to kick off the Eric Henderson era. Also playing in the Sanford Pentagon, which, especially in like this kind of pocket of the world, that's kind of a legendary venue. And so I think that's really cool for these guys as well to, go up and play in such a neat venue. Several of the guys, have played in that building, so the familiarity will be really neat. And yeah, kind of all that excitement piece of it. I think it's really cool that Murray's going to be up there as well. I think these are two teams, Drake and Murray State, that people feel like when you start looking at the coaches and some of the players, like these are teams that could compete for a championship this year, but we don't know anything about them. So to be able to see them all in one spot on November 3rd for Valley fans in general, I think is a win all around. Yeah, I'm fired up about that one.
Bradley over in South Carolina, they're taking part in it as well. So a lot of Valley on the Field of 68. So the schedule almost, I don't think it's officially been announced, but we've got pieces we know about that. We know you're going to Charleston, start a home and home, get LSU down in Destin, UAB, North Dakota State at home. What's your general sense of the body of work that Eric Henderson's been able to put together here for year number 1.
I didn't know about the North Dakota State at home, so that's
I've seen that. I don't know that that's officially official, but that has
maybe
been,
North Dakota State put it out. I don't know.
I think our friend Rocco Miller put that one out last week. So
gotcha. I knew they were working with a couple Summit League teams on games being at the Knapp Center. So cool. All right. Yeah, I know it's done. The non-conference is done. They've got it planned out, but there are like contracts that have to be signed to make sure it's all committed. And so once like all that's 100% buttoned up, we'll be able to get it out. But yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the big ones on the head there. And then, I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah. The one thing that's like a little bit missing this year that we've had in years past is that neutral site game, a standalone neutral site game against a Power 4. Like we played Kansas State and Kansas City last year, played Nevada. I can't really call them a Power 5, but they're up there.
Power 5.5,
Power 5.5. Yeah. Group of 6. And played Nevada and Vegas, played Mississippi State and Lincoln. And those games are just really cool. I love those games. We don't have that this year. That's a little bit of like a new staff. They want to get their feet wet, play some home games, and kind of get comfortable with early on in the season before they hit the Valley Conference schedule. So yeah, non-conference for Drake will be coming out here hopefully really, really soon. And then I don't know, Jeff, have you heard rumblings about when the Valley schedule's coming out?
No, I mean, I'd get me to, if it's here before Halloween, I'll be excited. So it feels like, I think last year it came out, it was like September 25th, somewhere around there. So I think for the scheduling folks, I think the hang up is always it's Bradley, because they don't own their arena. They share it with the hockey team in Peoria, and it's got to trickle down from there. And that's always the last hold up as much as anything. So
yeah, we can just point fingers at all the
that's right
schools that don't have their arena. That's usually where the issue is.
Rocco Miller, August the 8th. Sources: Drake will host North Dakota State as part of its non-conference schedule. So
well,
no date. But
come on, Rocco, give me more.
I know. Come on, Rocco. To your point about not having that Power 4 game, and I'm going to filibuster on this later, and I'll give you the sneak peek here, is that when I talked with Ryan Miller, Murray State's coach, last week, he just said the one thing coming from Creighton, the one scheduling thing that surprised him was we could not get bought, is what he said. We could not get bought. No one wanted it. And he goes, it wasn't because we were good. It was just we were an unknown and so on. But you look at the top of the league, Bradley didn't get bought. Belmont didn't get bought. You guys not getting bought. Murray's not getting bought. Somehow Illinois State got USC in Los Angeles on a neutral. That's almost a miracle at this point. But now with the players era growing and all of that they don't need to play risky games. And that's where we're going to get left by the side of the road.
Yeah. And I'm interested too, like how much of just uncertainty on, budget standpoint that is too, are you willing to spend $60,000 to $100,000 on a kind of an unknown team when the budget is, we got to pay $22 million to student athletes, and maybe that's buy games get dropped from the budget. That there could be something there. I'd have to ask Brian Harden about that. But yeah, I mean, it is only going to continue to get harder and harder. We talked about the Charleston event. Yep. Last year, the Classic, now it's split in two. Drake goes and runs through it, wins all 3 games. And now no one's like, I'm not doing that. We're not going to mess around with that. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. And yeah, hopefully we can continue to find solutions to, stay in the mix with some of those games, but yeah, right now, that's just not the case.
It is hard. I know you got a meeting. I'm going to let you get out of here, but before I let you go, Knapp Center getting a little bit of a facelift. What's been going on there?
Yeah, we posted on our Drake Athletics Facebook and X and Instagram page. It's all done now. I should have sent you a text message. I
got it. There it is.
Yeah. Nice. Look at you, man.
I'm trying.
You're producing and hosting.
So many balls in the air over here. We're
That's
trying
incredible.
to land the plane every day. So
yeah. So a lot of people that may be looking at this, they're like, I guess I don't really see anything too much different. But it's like the stain, just like a much lighter stain than it has been in the past. So it just has a cooler tone, which as like a design and TV guy, like it just matches the blue and white a little bit better. I think it's going to really look good on camera. We've been messing around with our ESPN Plus broadcast cameras and looking at it, it's like, oh, that looks really sharp from up top. So yeah, just a little bit of a lighter stain. And then the lanes are painted blue. And then we threw a little Des Moines hometown team on the baseline. We threw around like we had kind of our here's a crazy idea because I was in on some of the design. Like here's a crazy idea. We messed around with blue stain inside the 3-point line. Messed around, putting a skyline here or there, and maybe a Des Moines flag mixed in there. And kind of what we got down to is like at Drake, like a part of our MO is just like keeping it clean. Like we're blue and white, try not to do too much, and just let the look kind of stand for itself. And so, yeah, it's not like a major change. It's not going to, wow anybody, but I think when you walk into the building, it's going to look really sharp.
A little fresh coat of paint never hurts anything. He's Michael Admire. He is the radio voice for Drake men's basketball. Check him out. Hometown Hoops podcast, wherever you get your podcast, YouTube and all that, highlighting all the everybody with that men's basketball program. Michael, thank you for the time, and we'll talk soon.
You're the man, Jeff. Catch you later.
Right. Thank you. All right, there is Michael Admire. And just when I was looking, I couldn't remember if they were in South Dakota or in South Carolina. I knew they were in the Field of 68 deal. And so I was like, oh, and they're coming back to back. So one of the good dudes, and happy to be able to see him on November 3rd when we kick things off there with the Field of 68 opening day marathon. All right, back to the headlines of the morning. And we have got some commitment news from Cedar Falls, Iowa. And the good news for Ben Jacobson is that the young man from Cedar Falls High School, Will Gertis, is staying home. And he has committed to UNI, 6'8" forward from right there in town. He had offers from Iowa, South Dakota, Nebraska, Youngstown State, Bryant, but 2 Big Ten offers, and decided to stay home with UNI to play for Jacobson. Averaged about 16.5 points per game last year. Helped his team get to the Class 4A state semifinals in Iowa, 66% from the field. 45% for 3-point range. So we able to step outside and knock down some shots as well. So we'll see what it's like when you get into a college system, but certainly the potential to be a versatile issue for defenses around the Missouri Valley. But Will Gertis has committed to UNI. Speaking of UNI, and this is as much anything. This is a great opportunity to go back to the 2016 NCAA tournament when
2.7 left. Last chance for the Panthers.
And he said he wouldn't take a timeout in this situation.
Jesperson, half-court heave for the win. Jesperson knows it.
Wednesday morning. Paul Jesperson was the name head coach of the Valley Suns, the Phoenix D-League team. 32 years old, and he is making an ascent up
an all-time
NCAA
tournament shot
with the Valley Suns.
Jesperson.
What an incredible finish to this game. You can just see the heart rate.
And now,
I mean, it's one thing to get beat by a 15-foot jump shot. It's another thing to get beat by a half-court heave.
Hawks organization.
I was just hoping it was going in. It felt good. When I left my hand. Well, you never know with those shots. I'm just thankful it went in. Thankful we get to live another day.
This year, 2 months ago, the Sacramento Kings hired him
Northern Iowa
to be their director of player development. And then fast forward 2 months, and the Kings are in the rear view, and he is now the head coach of the Valley Suns for the G League team for the Suns of Phoenix. So congratulations to Paul on that promotion. All right, back to the filibuster that I started there with Michael Admire just a couple of minutes ago. We have news from the scheduling side of a non-conference schedule being released by the Fighting Illini of Illinois. And that scheduling news is that on October the 18th, you will have an exhibition game between October the 19th, rather, we'll have an exhibition game between the Redbirds in Champaign against Illinois. And when this rule change happened, and I thought, this is neat. You're going to get to see, instead of, that we don't have to do the super secret scrimmages anymore. Some schools are still doing it because there are benefits to that. To be able to have a scrimmage and for coaches to be able to just stop the game and go through teaching points but now to be able to have exhibition games, Division I against Division I, and you're going to get some geographical matchups like this where, maybe Illinois isn't super interested in playing Illinois State in the regular season, but hey, we'll play an exhibition with you, and it's seemingly beneficial for all. And it's like, this is good for the fans. There's some potential bragging rights, even though if you beat one of the big boys, they'll blow it off as, we weren't really trying and blah, blah, blah. But again, as the months have gone on and we've gotten more into the scheduling world, the more I'm kind of almost bothered by these is that it feels like these are now some sort of almost head padding from the Power Fours toward the mid-majors, whether they're in state or not. In that, yeah, we'll throw you a bone and you can come play us in an exhibition game, but we're never going to play you in the regular season. We're just not going to do it anymore. And again, when I look at the schedules that have been pieced together so far, when you have Bradley, who goes back to Ryan Miller, as I said a couple minutes ago, goes back to Ryan Miller's conversation with me last week, where he said, we could not get bought. Teams, power schools did not want to buy them. And Bradley did not get bought. And Murray State did not get bought. Belmont, I do not believe, got bought. Drake not getting bought. And that it's like, if you are a threat to be good, teams are just, these big schools are like, we're not interested. And then again, as you get into the Players Era Festival, which this year there's 18 teams. Next year, you're going to go to 32. And so all of those power schools that are going to play in that event, which again, as we've talked about, not only obliterates the MTE world, but those 32 teams, they're going to get 4 games against other power schools over there. They are filling their schedule. They don't have the need to go play these top 100, 125-ish mid-majors. They don't have a need for it anymore. And so this is where another example of the mids kind of getting out. Again, the Northern Iowa is going to play at St. Mary's. That game, I'm not sure if that is a bye game or the start of a home and home. So we'll reserve judgment on that one. Again, as I said, Illinois State going to play USC in LA. I think it's the Intuit Dome, I think is what it is called, which is that is an absolute Houdini act by Ryan Peden at Illinois State to be able to get that game, to be able to get that type of opponent, because it doesn't happen anymore. But I think the part that you can kind of see now is if you just rank teams by the number of bye games they have, is you can almost get a sense of the outside, what the coaching world thinks about the hierarchy of teams in your conference. And when you see Valparaiso being bought twice, they're going to play at Kentucky as part of the MTE. They're going to go to Marquette. Indiana State being bought. They're going to go to Duke. Evansville going to Purdue and Notre Dame. Southern Illinois, they have a game at Memphis. Believe that to be a bye game as well. So those are again, from the outside, you just like you can see a lot by what is in this case not said, but scheduled of how people view folks in the Valley and the hierarchy. But the schools at the top, you're going to get the pat on the head in these exhibition games, and that's really about it, because they don't feel compelled and they don't have any interest in playing these games. And so I think they feel like they're being benevolent and, hey, come on in, we'll play in an exhibition. But playing those games in November and December are probably long gone now, and we're just going to have to take what we can get in October, unfortunately, and then go, whip them. And then that will reaffirm their decision of this is why we don't play you guys when ultimately it matters. Evansville has released their non-conference schedule, and 11 non-conference games, 5 at home, 3 neutrals, 3 roads, as we talked about, the quad 1 opportunities at Purdue, at Notre Dame. They'll also go to Western Kentucky. Again, just from a curious standpoint, I think we saw this with Indiana State. Again, my understanding when it came to the scheduling principles is that teams were not able to play more than one non-Division I game, but Evansville's got 2 on there at home. They will also play Middle Tennessee, who's a quad 3. They'll get Texas, Arlington, and Ball State, projected quad 4s as well at home. And then they'll go to the U.S. Virgin Islands. You got Oregon State, again, a projected quad 2. Iona, maybe Akron, another quad 2, and then in that event down there. For Evansville, this year it's just about growth. Last year, you go through the non-conference, you're 3-8. If you're able to win, just win your home games. Win your home games. You've got 2 non-D1s. Again, you got Middle Tennessee State, who is projected to be a quad 3, a couple of quad 4s in Arlington and Ball State. There's 5. You've already got 5. If you can just go get one of the remaining 6, go get one in the Virgin Islands. Go get a game. We're not going to, hey, go get Purdue, go get Notre Dame. If you do that, let's go. But if you can go win at Western Kentucky, you got 6 other games, neutral and road. Go get one. You go into conference play with a winning record. And I think that would be a giant leap forward for David Ragland's bunch, rather than, they dealt with injuries last year, but to come out 3-8. And again, from a metric standpoint, Evansville just kicked themselves in the shins in a big way last year when, you go 3-8 in the non-conference. They started the year at 203, which was fine. But by the time they got done with the non-conference and you threw in a loss to Murray State to open up conference play, and you're 3-9, they had dropped all the way to 324. And it wasn't the 3-9. It was, you go to Ohio State and lose by 50. You go to Arlington and you lose by 26. You go to Ball State and you lose by 37. So you're going to get those opportunities for some payback with Arlington and Ball State at home to finish up those home and homes and hopefully be able to get off to a better start. And then again, from a metric standpoint, you're helping yourself, you're helping the whole league. Hopefully this can be beneficial, but I will be just looking at that schedule. And look, they've got a whole lot of new pieces. They lost some very important pieces from last year, but would certainly like to believe that they can get into conference play a whole lot better off than 3-8 than they were last year. And a lot of that just, can they stay healthy? Can their key pieces? Gabriel Posado got hurt last year, missed some time. I think it was a back, and that really caused some issues for David Ragland's bunch. But if they can stay healthy, I don't see any reason why they can't get into conference play with a winning record. Nichols has released their non-conference schedule, and just a couple Valley pieces on it that we've known about. But I think now that you kind of see them paired together, they're going to spend some time up north. They're going to go to Valparaiso. They're playing in that Kentucky MTE. They'll go to Valparaiso on November the 12th, and then 3 days later, they will be down in Murray to take on the Racers. Bart Torvik projections have them as 277. So it's going to be quad 4 home game for both Valpo and Murray State. And hopefully both of them will be able to take care of business there against the Colonels in early to mid-November. Okay. Finally today, we're going to talk about transfer portal rankings and Murray State putting out this graphic the other day, which was just touting that they, according to 24/7 Sports, touting that Murray State has the best transfer portal class in the Missouri Valley Conference, which the numbers, according to 24/7 Sports, say yes, they do. The number 89 transfer portal class in the country. I tried to find what these numbers actually meant. Like, how did we get to these numbers? And not just for Murray, but for everybody. And there didn't seem to be any, at least in the many clicks I did through the 24/7 site trying to find some sort of methodology, could not find it. I think the easy answer here is, well, I would hope you would have the number 1 portal class because you've got more portal people than anybody on your roster, as they went and got 9 kids out of the transfer portal. And actually, they technically got 10, but I think they only count Division I to Division I transferring. Braden Shorter, the guard from Division II, does not count. You've got 2 true freshmen and then the 3 international kids. So that's how you got your 15. But 9 commits. 24/7 Sports saying that of those 9, they have 4 3-star transfers. Southern Illinois was ranked 2nd in transfer portal class. They only had 1 4-star. They were the only team in the Valley with a 4-star transfer portal signee, and that was Prince Aligbe, the brother of Rollins Aligbe, who played at Seton Hall previously. But get the Racers with 4 3-stars. You had SIU with 1 4-star, Bradley 1 3-star, UIC 1 3-star, Evansville 1 3-star. So the Racers, by sheer volume, I think, win this award just because they got so many kids. But to the point that, yes, you brought in 9 kids, Division I transfers, but you've got 4 of them that are, at least by 24/7 Sports, they are recognized as 3-star transfers. So you got a whole bunch of bites at the apple, and it looks like those bites, at least on paper, at least coming in, are going to be very good. And so as I was talking with some staff yesterday, it is the most fascinating thing for me, 75 days away from the season opener, is they have got a lot of good players on that team. And just how in the world are you going to kind of narrow that thing down to a rotation of 9, 10, whatever it wants to be? Because I can make arguments for 12, 13, and it's like, you just can't play that many guys. You just can't. So very curious how that's all going to shake out, but that's why they get paid the big bucks, and they got 2.5 months to figure out how in the end that will shake out as we roll towards the start of the season. All right. Thanks to Michael Admire for being with us today, our Drake men's basketball radio voice. And if you have not done so already, please head over to YouTube and subscribe for free to this fine program. You'll get notifications when we go live there on YouTube. We've got past shows, interview clips, all that stuff. But subscribe, like, share, comment, and continue to help us grow this thing as we get closer. 75 days away from go time. Cannot wait. So thank you for being with us today and watching wherever you may be. We will see you Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Morning in the Valley.